This is a video podcast from the Distance Education Department at Salt Lake Community College. Welcome to our video podcast about, what else? Podcasting. We hope that by the end of this basic overview of podcasting, you'll be able to describe, at least basically, what podcasting is and how it works. Okay, so most of you have probably heard the term podcast or podcasting, and you may have an inkling that podcasts have something to do with audio from the internet that can be played in an iPod. But you may not have a really clear idea about what podcasting really is. We'll begin by answering the question, what's a podcast? To find out a good definition of what a podcast is, I went to wikipedia.org. So according to Wikipedia, a podcast is a web feed of audio or video files placed on the internet for anyone to download or subscribe to. So it's a way to download audio or video files from the internet. Now, you might be saying, what's the big deal then? I've been downloading audio and video from the internet for years. That's a very good point. In fact, a podcast really is just a regular old download from the internet. The difference comes in how that download is initiated. The thing that truly makes a podcast different from a regular old download is the web feed and subscribe to parts. In podcasting, in order to receive your audio and video files, you subscribe to a web feed rather than initiating a download. That's a key point about podcasting. From then on, you are fed, or more accurately, your computer is fed, the audio or video by the web feed. Let me explain. Let's say that your favorite radio program is National Public Radio's Technology radio show, which plays every Wednesday at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time and goes for half an hour. The trouble is, you are at work during this time and unable to listen. Without podcasting, what you could do to continue listening to the program is navigate to their website every week on your own time and listen to the show at a later time by manually downloading and listening to it using your PC. This will work just fine. The only problem is that it's inconvenient for you to have to go to their website the next Wednesday in order to listen again. And you'll still have to do it all again the next Wednesday as well, if you want to listen to your favorite program every week. Enter podcasting. With podcasting, you'll only need to access the website once. Once there, you just subscribe to the web feed, which is actually just a snippet of code that tells your computer where to go to be fed the audio or video files, and the radio program automatically downloads to your PC as an MP3 audio file. It is now not only a download, but a podcast. Once you have subscribed, you won't have to go to the website every week to get your show. The web feed will automatically send the podcasted radio program in MP3 format right to your PC every Wednesday, so you can then listen to it whenever you like. And it will continue to do this for you every Wednesday until you unsubscribe from the feed. So the advantage of podcasting is really one of convenience. Well, at this point, some of you might say, well, that's great, but what does this have to do with iPods? Well, that's a good question, and I'll try to explain that right now. To receive those podcasts that are coming every Wednesday to your PC via the web feed, you need to have some kind of software that will catch the podcast. You need a podcatcher, which can also be called a feed reader or a podcast aggregator. One example of a podcatcher is iTunes, but there are others, such as Juice, formerly iPodder, or Doppler. Google and Yahoo also have web-based versions of feed readers. In this example, we'll use iTunes, because it's one of the most popular. It's a free download from iTunes.com, and it installs on your PC or your Mac. When you subscribe to a podcast via a web feed, iTunes automatically opens up on your computer, and the podcast becomes listed in your list of subscribed to podcasts. This is where the NPR radio program will show up every Wednesday. Okay, now this is where the iPods come in. You could just listen to the podcast right on your PC now by clicking the play button in iTunes. But suppose you wanted to listen to the podcast while you were at the gym the next morning. All you would need to do is sync your iPod with your iTunes Podcatcher software on your computer so that the MP3 file for your radio program is now in your iPod. And the podcast would be right there in your iPod waiting for you when you went to the gym the next morning. That's the convenience of podcasting. The last thing to remember about podcasting is that this process doesn't work only with iPods. It also works with other digital media players, such as those made by Creative and Samsung, as well as others. That's it for this video podcast about podcasting. Hope it was helpful.